Enga Governor calls for a state of emergency to deal with drought. More than 20,000 sit for grade 12 exams nationwide. And 30 children with facial defects to receive free surgery.
This is National EMTV News with Tokana Hasavi.
A very good evening to you and welcome to another working week. It's good to have your company. The latest wave of frost in the Enga province has worsened an already trying situation. This from Enga Governor Sir Peter Ipatas, who says the government needs to declare a national disaster so that help can be sought outside of the country.
The governor says this is one of the worst cases of natural disaster in recorded history the province has had to deal with.
I would like to urge the national government to realize that this can be a national disaster. And for some reason, the National Disaster Office seems to be downplaying what is going on.
In terms of relief supplies, he says so far they have distributed 14,000 bags of 20 kg rice to families in Kandep district. This was done through the Provincial Disaster Committee with police assistance. The other badly affected district, Laigap, needs another 14,000 bags of rice. However, so far the province has only received 6,000 rice bags.
Supplies that are coming in bits and pieces should not be sent, because it can cause problems amongst the people, or they can fight for rations. We don't want to see this situation.
The governor says the situation in the province has worsened because the dry spell is now affecting other areas in the province. The initial number of 187,000 affected people is likely to increase to over 250,000. These numbers and the news that traditional water sources are now drying up will put a lot of strain on the already limited resources they are working with.
The funds are drying up. So if they are, then it is the responsible agencies should inform government so that they can make extra funds available quickly before we lose lives.
While the focus is now on relief supplies, the extent of damages done to the food crop means there needs to be planning for when weather returns to normal.
We will go to the extent of even looking for the seeds to provide.
Meanwhile, Enga Provincial Police Commander George Kakas says the law and order situation has been manageable so far.
The only issue that I'm worried about is that if there's no food coming in the long run, people may resort to illegal tactics to obtain food.
The governor says it is time the national government must put out a national disaster alert.
Make sure that we take the actions that are necessary, and that is to provide food to our people so that they can not starve to death.
Sarah Aupong, National EMTV News.
A man suspected of killing the son of a Trave businessman using sorcery has been beaten to death with sticks and stones. Provincial Police Commander Albert Belly says the businessman's son was found dead in a river after diving for gold. Relatives of the boy blamed another man in the same tribe of sorcery. They used sticks and stones to kill the suspected sorcerer. The situation was very tense over the weekend, but Trave police have been able to contain it and have made arrests. Superintendent Belly says the tribe was told to stop the violence and let police do their jobs. Sorcery-related killings in the Highlands continue to happen despite continuous advocacy and awareness. A policewoman was injured this afternoon during a daring robbery by a group of armed criminals. The policewoman, who was in a vehicle that gave chase, received pellet wounds to her face but avoided serious injuries. The group robbed the Raumai wholesale at Eriku and later escaped on a boat waiting on the Ley waterfront. It is believed they made off with an unspecified amount of cash. Well, Enga Governor Sir Peter Ipatas has pledged his support for the People's National Congress Party in the face of a possible vote of no confidence in this month's Parliament session. The Governor urged a large crowd in Wabeg town last Friday to refrain from believing rumours. He says he trusts the leadership of Prime Minister Peter O'Neill and challenged other Enga leaders to stop the nonsense and believe in the Prime Minister's leadership. He was in the province for the launching of uniforms and advances for village court officials.
Prime Minister of the country. So Midla Honorable Robert Ganim, Midla stop on the mem. Now you looking for come up.
Over 23,000 grade 12 students nationwide have begun their national examinations. The grade 12 exams, which started today, will continue for 2 weeks and end next Friday. The students began with the first paper in advanced mathematics.
EMTV visited the Port Moresby National High School this morning to see the grade 12 students sit for their first national exam paper. The school has 269 Year 12 students, 145 boys and 124 girls. It's that time of the school calendar when students, parents and even schools think about life after grade 12. Port Moresby National High School, which was opened in 1996, is one of the top schools in the country. Last year, over 80% of the students were selected into tertiary institutions. Principal David Diowai said the high achievement levels are attributed to good management and knowing what's needed in the classrooms.
Last year we had 315 students in total. And out of that, UPNG intake, UPNG selected 76, and Unitech selected 45. Not to mention Kroka University, PAU, Divine Word. So our selected numbers every year would be ranging between 85 to 90%.
Mr. Diowai also made mention that there are over 23,000 students nationwide sitting for these exams. Of that number, only between 6,000 to 7,000 students will continue next year into tertiary education.
The government, the leaders, every citizen in this country must think about how to cater for the 10,000 to 12,000 who will not be able to get into tertiary institutions. These kids, the mere fact that they've been selected, are already very, very intelligent students. And to see them leaving school and they walk out onto the streets is not a very good thing.
Mr. Diowai said capacity must be increased and more universities must be built to cater for the government's vision of improved access to education. In 2014, over 19,800 students sat for the grade 12 exams. Of these, just over 5,600 students went on to tertiary education. The numbers are staggering, but the government said this year marked a 21% increase in tertiary enrollment compared to last year. Deli Waigeno, National EMTV News.
Well, National EMTV News continues after this break with more local stories. Stay with us. Thanks for your company and welcome back to National EMTV News. The Eastern Islands Provincial Government has invited the International Training Institute into the province. It comes as student numbers increase in classrooms and the dropouts also increase at the end of Year 12. MTV's Colin Barrelai reports.
The Eastern Highlands is the first province in the region to have an ITI center offering business and information technology courses. The institute's director was invited by the provincial government to establish a center in the province to give new opportunities for school leavers.
To offer affordable education at quality prices and have good quality. And that's how we started. And if you look at the same service provided by the higher education, we are still the cheapest as well, because we are trying to maintain affordability.
The Eastern Highlands Governor Julie Soso and the provincial administration have seen the need to give grade 12 school leavers another opportunity to get education and reduce the number of grade 12 dropouts. Now, for the past several months, the governor has been hit with criticisms from other Eastern Highlands leaders saying there has been no service delivery.
My own province, people are seeing, I'm working bottom-up approach, and I'm working with my local level ward councillors, ward members. So my ward members are now launching and opening resource centers and learning centers everywhere. The Women's Association, they have also getting funding from all the local level boards.
This newly established center might provide opportunities for students from as far as Simbu, Jiwaka and Western Highlands, some from Southern Highlands and Hela. Colin Barelai, National EMTV News, Leh.
A farmers' workshop at the National Agriculture Research Institute in Leh has brought together participants from all over the Pacific and PNG who have been engaging with PNG's Women in Agriculture. Women in Agriculture representatives said the organization's influence has reached out to the islands and to some of the most isolated parts of the country.
This is a meeting of farmer representatives from all over Papua New Guinea and the Pacific. The workshop has brought together the skills of various scientists and farmers from various backgrounds. One of the organizations behind this meet is the Women in Agriculture. Previously a small organization, it's now grown into a membership of several hundreds as well as partners throughout the Pacific.
Time me gulong meetings blol me trome sambla presentation. Oli lukim na oli kisim disla tingting na now disla amas ploli kam stapia. They have already established women in agriculture in their Pacific Islands.
While the policies are developed by the men, many of those who farm the land are the women. Now the Women in Agriculture organization is aiming to have a greater say in how the policies are developed in Papua New Guinea.
The PNG Women in Agriculture has been was set up about the same time NARI was set up. So it was it's a way of getting NARI's new and improved agricultural crop varieties or livestock breeds and production systems to farmers. And in PNG, mostly women are very much involved in farming.
The network has increased. It has been strengthened.
Scott Waide, National EMTV News, Leh.
Opposition leader Don Pollier says he will file a fresh legal instrument against the UBS loan and Prime Minister Peter O'Neill. Pollier says this new affidavit will add to provide new evidence to the existing court proceedings he filed in 2014.
Mr. Pollier says he will file a fresh affidavit disclosing new evidence to the courts as an extension of his existing court proceeding OS 124 of 2014. This new evidence will be provided to the courts to declare the UBS loan of $1.2 billion to buy 10.1% stake in Oil Sets Limited as illegal. He will also pursue fresh criminal charges against Prime Minister Peter O'Neill for unlawfully concluding this transaction.
What I will be doing is I will take this matter to court.
He urged the government to disclose the terms and benefits of the UBS Oil Sets deal. The deal has come under criticism and is currently before the courts. Recently, former State Enterprise Minister Atta Somare spoke against the deal, including his father, Sam Michael, and former colleague Sam Mekara-Morata. But the government maintains that the case is before the courts and will not comment further on. Quinten Alomp, National EMTV News.
Well, Treasurer Patrick Pruach has assured the country that key government programs, including education, health and infrastructure capacity building, remain largely unaffected following cuts to government spending. In a statement released this afternoon, the Treasurer says in addition to spending cuts of 1.1 billion kina, Cabinet has also recently approved raising 1.1 billion kina in revenue from government enterprises. Revenue raised, according to Treasurer Pruach, will prevent the much-feared deficit blowout in this year's budget, bringing the final deficit to 2.3 billion kina, in line with the original deficit projected 2015 budget. The Treasurer has also hinted that the 2016 national budget, due to be handed down within the next 2 weeks, will have a clear focus on current global economic conditions and implications of PNG's economy. And now let's check out the finance news. The kina closed unchanged at $0.3455 in the interbank market today. At Bank South Pacific, our kina was trading at $0.3380 $0.4617 Australian dollars, 0.2942 euro and 40.01 Japanese yen. Taking a look at commodity prices at New York close, gold, coffee and cocoa closed higher, while copper closed the day lower. Palm oil, copper and crude oil all closed the day lower. And finally, on the stock market, the Dow Jones closed at 74 points higher, the ASX closed at 38 points lower, and the All Ordinaries closed at 46 points higher. Among stories after this break, Operation of Hope provides vital surgery for children in PNG. Stay with us. Welcome back to the news. Once again, hope has been restored for several young children who are born with or living with facial deformities. A Californian-based all-volunteer surgical team called the Operation of Hope Worldwide is currently on its second visit to PNG, providing free life-changing surgery and care for children with cleft lips and palates.
In a developing nation where meeting medical fees, let alone surgery fees, is somewhat costly for most families, a glimmer of hope shines for hundreds of children born with or living with facial defects. Forming a profound partnership with the Pacific International Hospital, the 9-member team began operations yesterday and will continue throughout the week until all 30 patients are attended to.
We do primarily cleft lip and cleft palate surgeries all over the world, and that's what we'll be doing on this little boy this week. We'll do a cleft lip.
PIH Director and CEO Dr. Amina Sultan says the hospital has taken on the challenge to cater for the team by providing operating theatres, consumable supplies, hospital beds and meals because this specific surgery is important to young children.
Getting a cosmetic correction is very, very important. However, there are also feeding problems in a baby when they have this issue, and that can cause nutritional and developmental deficiencies. But the third most important thing is the speech of the child, because when we talk, our tongue moves a certain way and touches our palate, and if there is a gap in that palate, then that speech development can be delayed. And sometimes when a child has not learned to speak properly, at the right age, it may be very difficult to get that child to actually have proper speech.
Dr. Amina Sultan says from 38 patients from the team's first visit in December last year, this year has seen a tremendous increase in patient numbers. So far, 83 children, ranging from 15 months to 15 years of age from all around the country, registered for the program. 35 has since showed up for screening and 30 have been confirmed to undergo surgery. Vanessa Knight, National EMTV News.
News now. Turning to regional news now, Fijian Prime Minister Frank Bainimarama has apologized to Fijians living in Australia for the coups of 1987 and 2000. Bainimarama did not mention his own coup in 2006, but received applause from the apology and his invitation for Fijians to return home. It followed an address to the Australia-Fiji Business Forum in Sydney, where he said it was time for both Fiji and Australia to restore their relationship. He told the business gathering in Manly that he was delighted that travel bans on him had been lifted. Despite his return to parliamentary rule last year, Bainimarama has continued his push to exclude Australia and New Zealand from the region's peak political body, the Pacific Islands Forum. Now, the number of ways that drug syndicates or individuals smuggle narcotics is profoundly limitless. Today, literally any item can be used to conceal drugs, even rice. Argentine customs found about 30 kilograms of cocaine hidden in a way they had never seen before when drug-sniffing dogs found the drug had been absorbed into grains of rice. Chief of Narcotic Investigations Guillermo Gonzalez says it's a new method. The narcotics were headed for Europe via Africa.
Once the dog selects a bag, it is scanned and then the corresponding bag is opened up to identify the product. And that's the point. After we used the reactive, we were able to detect the presence of narcotics.
The bust stresses the role Argentina has come to play as a shipping point for cocaine produced in Peru, Colombia and Bolivia, destined for Africa through the South Atlantic Sea, and then smuggled north to the lucrative markets of Europe. In this case, the creative drug expert soaked rice in water mixed with cocaine. Gonzalez said when the water evaporated, the rice was left invisibly infused with the drug. 12 suspects, among them Argentines and Colombians, have been arrested in what police are calling Operation White Rice.
Evidently, we cannot talk about the organization being just Argentine or Colombian. We're dealing with an international criminal organization that warrants continued investigation.
A similar story has developed in Papua New Guinea with the porous border it shares with Australia's Northern Territory. Daru is a short ride away and has earned a reputation in facilitating the transport of drugs to Australia using high-powered speedboats. In October 2014, Australian police seized nearly 1,000 cannabis plants and enough chemicals to create 2.5 million Australian dollars worth of methamphetamines in far north Queensland. A drug and gun smuggling syndicate operating between Australia and PNG was shut down in the operation. Well, we have Trukai Sports coming up next, Lay volleyball finals, cricket and soccer. Stay with us for that and more.
Trukai Sports.
Thanks for joining me with Trukai Sports. Lay's Raukele featured in 4 of the 5 division finals in the Lay volleyball finals, winning 3 and coming second in 1. Raukele snatched victories in the women's A and B grades and men's A grade, whilst coming second in the men's B reserve. Disana beat MVC in the men's B grade. MTV's Bethany Harriman with Saturday's grand final matches in Lay.
On Saturday, clear skies at the Erico volleyball courts as Raukele came out to finish a wonderful season. The B-grade women grabbed victory from Mindor with 3 sets to 0. In the women's A-grade, the experienced Raukele side edged in front of the BC mates, winning 3 sets to 2. In the men's B grade, a thrilling close game. Disana barely winning, snatching 3 sets to 2. While the Raukele A reserve men lost by a set after a tug of war with KCR. In a gripping finish to the season, the heavy-hitting Raukele A-grade men's team outclassed number Forks with a triumphant 3 sets to 0, winning the finals. Bethany Harriman, National MTV Sports, Lay.
Over to cricket, the Papua New Guinea under-19 cricket team have suffered their second defeat. This time, Ireland opened their campaign, smashing the Garamuts by a comfortable 111 runs. Ireland made a solid 271 runs before being all dismissed in 48 overs. PNG's run chase, however, was rocked by the Irish bowlers, getting all out for 160 in 36.4 overs. It was only wicketkeeper Sarah Sam who showed confidence, scoring 68 runs from 89 balls, which saw him hit 6 fours and a 6. To soccer, Papua New Guinea will be competing in the OFC Under-17 Women's Championships from the 9th to the 23rd of January 2016 in the Cook Islands. The tournament confirms the pathway to the FIFA Under-17 Women's World Cup in Jordan next year.
The tournament will feature 9 teams which have been split into 2 groups. Group A is consisted of Samoa, Tonga, Solomon Islands, New Caledonia and defending champions New Zealand, while Group B is made up of Fiji, Cook Island, Vanuatu and Papua New Guinea. The 2 top teams from each group will progress to the semi-finals. Fiji, Samoa and Vanuatu will be competing for the first time. New Zealand has won the last two OFC Under-17 Women's Championships after qualifying directly last year. They will be hoping for a fourth straight appearance at the World Cup. Elijah Levitt, National EMTV Sports.
Well, still ahead in True Guy Sports tonight, rugby league, rugby and tennis. Stay with us for those stories.
True Guy Sports.
Good to have you back with True Guy Sports. Lay's Tent City Rangers won Lay League finals yesterday after beating a star-studded Lay Biscuit Spiders 11 points to 8. The Spiders, last year's premiers and 2013 champs, went down to a young Rangers side. Club patron and Gold Rush Managing Director Russell Gardner thanked Lay League boss Rush Kalpa, the fans and players for a wonderful season. This afternoon, Gardner held a press conference and said celebrations are still ongoing.
With a good sponsor from the Gold Rush Pharmaceuticals and the minor sponsors, the Weeks Logistics, Yalamundi Real Estate, Tobias from Bumayong, Bugandi Secondary, we have put up this year. And as you can see, after yesterday's game, all minor sponsors and the major sponsor, we have contributed, and we have I've done a little bit of celebrations to the boys, and the celebrations will continue until Wednesday, when we officially get our cup from Lay Rugby League. From the president himself, Ras Kaupa.
Over to tennis. Following her 4 gold medal winning success at the 2015 Pacific Games, Abigail Tarapisa is back in competition. Competing in a tournament in Brisbane, Australia, Abigail won her round matches yesterday in straight sets. Today she won her final round match, qualifying for the main 25k ITF Women's Circuit, which is a series of professional tennis tournaments run by the International Tennis Federation for female professional tennis players. It begins tomorrow. All the best to her. Well, world number 1 Novak Djokovic fortified his ranking by winning another Shanghai Masters title yesterday. It proved all too easy once again for Djokovic as he blitzed past Frenchman Jo-Wilfried Tsonga to win the title. The 10-time Grand Slam champion claimed the first set 6-2 in effortless fashion. Midway through the second set, the 19th-seeded Tsonga came back firing, much to the excitement of the crowd. But it was the world number 1 who had the last laugh, winning the second set 6-4. This is Novak's 3rd Shanghai Masters title and his 9th title in a stellar 2015. It's put the Serbian among the sport's all-time greats. It's also a second straight tournament Djokovic has won without dropping a set after he landed his 6th China Open title in Beijing last week. The Serb now boasts a 38-1 win-loss record on the Chinese hard courts. Over to soccer. The University of Papua New Guinea hosted its football finals over the weekend, with Phoenix taking on Morobe United in the women's division. And in a tight tussle in the men's division, it was an experienced All Blacks taking on Yarangs United. MTV's Shane Saroya has this report.
Kick-starting the afternoon, the battle of the UPNG's top 2 female division teams, who had kept their winning streaks throughout the 2015 season, ultimately earning their place in the grand final showdown. The Phoenix in blue taking on the Never Say Die Morobe United in green. It was an all-out battle with the hustle and tussle of the ball in the first half. Both teams were level at 1-1. The second half, the Phoenix came out hard, holding the game on Morobe United's half, with their forwards putting pressure on Morobe's backline. And when the sun was at its peak, the scorching heat began to take its toll. In the later stages of the game, a Phoenix forward pulled off a stunner on the blind side to extend the lead 2-1 and hold on the lead till the final hutta. The men's final was another top-of-the-table clash between the spirited Yarangs United side and the AROB's All Blacks in a thrilling and hard-fought match. The All Blacks running out onto the pitch, boasting a couple of NSL players on their side, with fast forwards up front. Yarangs, on the other hand, stacked with the raw talent and utility midfielders. Starting the match with just under 15 minutes in, a brilliant cross from the All Blacks flanker far out wide saw PNG under-23 striker Patrick Isa finding the back of the net with a smooth header. All Blacks kept pushing up front with their faster forwards, and pressure was on Team in Blue to defend their territory. And again, Yarangs' backline Asha-led defense were able to hold them off going into the break. Yarangs came out all guns blazing in the second half with their lead strikers Garrison Kyrene and Joel Gedisa questioning All Blacks' line time and time again, but failed to make the shots count, and at times coming so close. But the All Blacks kept their calm and held their line of defense and stuck to their game plan. The whistle was blown midway through the second half after a Yarangs defender was red-carded for foul play. That didn't go well with the Yarangs fans, and much to their dismay, in the final minutes of the game, All Blacks striking the final blow to silence the Yarangs by 2-0. Shane Saroya, National EMTV Sports.
Well, that's how we wrap up our True Kai Sports segment tonight. Coming up next, the weather details. Stay tuned.
True Kai Sports. True Kai Sports.
Taking a look at the weather forecast for the next 24 hours in southern region, mostly fine and dry expected in Port Moresby, as well as Daru, Karama, Popondetta and Alata. In Momase, mostly fine and dry expected in Wewak, Vanimo, Madang, mostly fine in Ley City. In the New Guinea Islands, all centres to look forward to fine weather. And in the Islands region, all centres, in fact, Goroka and Kundiawa to look forward to mostly fine weather, Wabeg and Mendi to look forward to mostly low cloud weather. Forecast for small ships, waters of southern PNG Indonesian border through Torres Strait, Daru to Kiwai Island to Kerema, Yule Island to Hood Point to Samarai Island, including Madang to Bogia through to Wewak. All the islands around Manus and its western group of islands, seas of 1.5 to 2 meters. Waters of eastern and western Milne Bay Islands with waters of Hood Point to Samarai Island to Cape Bogle. Finschhafen with waters of New Ireland to New Britain, including Bougainville, seas of 0.5 to 1.5 meters. Waters of Finschhafen through Vitia Strait to Long Island, including Siasi Islands and Dampier Strait, seas of 2 meters to 2.5 meters, and waters of Aitape through to Vanimo and the northern PNG Indonesian border, seas of 0.5 to 1.3 meters. And now let's take a look at ocean forecasts for PNG areas. Coral Sea sees moderate with southeast winds at 15 to 20 knots. Solomon Sea sees slight with southeast winds at 10 to 15 knots. Bismarck Sea sees moderate with southeast winds at 15 to 20 knots. And lastly, Pacific Ocean sees slight with southeast winds at 10 to 15 knots with gusts. Now a quick recap of our main stories tonight before we go. Enga Governor calls for a state of emergency to deal with drought. Also, more than 20,000 sit for grade 12 exams nationwide and 30 children with facial defects to receive free surgery. And that's the way we wrap up the news, sports and weather tonight. From the news team, I'm Tokana Hasavi Jr. Thanks for your company. You take care and stay happy. Good night.